A couple of months ago, I showed the video about my DIY hammock camping setup, where I made the hammock and the bug net and the tarp and the quilts and everything. And I've been using that for the past couple of months and really like it. And I got that right here. Now this is made with the 2.5 ounce ClimaShield Apex synthetic fill. It's got the adjustable foot box here with, you know, the snap system at the bottom and the Velcro and all that fun stuff. And yeah, I added some tags to mine. And it works really well. And I can, even though this is supposedly rated down to 50 degrees, I've used this down into the high 30s and been okay. It's about the limit of the fabric for me, and your mileage will vary. Everybody sleeps a little bit differently. The only issue I have with the top quilt, and I don't know how I did this, but I shorted myself about 6 inches in the overall length. I like to be able to pull the hammock or the quilt up over myself in the hammock if it gets a little chilly, but this will come up to about here. And to get over my head, I got to kind of scrunch up a little bit. And it's usually not that bad. In warmer weather, it doesn't bother me. A couple weeks ago, I went to Sizersville State Park, and even though it was the beginning of June, end of May, it got down like the low 40s, high 30s. And I was sleeping right along a creek. It rained a little bit, and there was a little bit of a breeze. And I was starting to get a little cold in this. So I had to kind of turn on my side and scrunch up to pull this over. And I decided right then and there, all right, I got to replace this. I was thinking about maybe making an extension for this and sewing it on there. But I know I wouldn't have been happy with the way that looked. So I'm using, again, the 2.5 ounce ClimaShield, which I got right here. I've got 3 yards of this. All these materials I ordered from Ripstop by the roll. So 3 yards of that. And then for the top shell and the liner, just 1 ounce nylon, Ripstop nylon, black for the top shell, and dark olive for the inside liner shell. The only difference between this and the original material I use is originally I used calendared material. This is not. I'm thinking I want it to be at least 80 inches long, just so I have plenty of extra fabric. After having one short, I want to make sure I've got more than I need. You probably don't want to see me cut fabric, so I'm not going to show that. Okay, so I've got the fabric, the top shell and the insulation cut down to size and pinned together so I can do some baffles. Now they're not needed with Apex. I do it more for the look of it, but it does help keep the insulation from sliding around inside. And I don't get real crazy with where I put my baffles. I just use the fold lines, and I go every other fold line. And I'm going to go across the, so this would be the top. I'm going to go across this way. And I did fold the bottom about a foot of the Apex over on itself at the foot. So that should help keep the foot box a little bit warmer. So I already got the sewing machine set up with my dark olive thread, just so it gives a little bit of a contrast on the black there. But what I do is I'm going to sew my back stitches off the edges, or right to the edges, and then they're going to get folded under like this when I do the construction. So you can see that. So the back stitching will be out here on both sides, and then this will get covered by the liner. So one thing I want to point out, I've changed out my standard foot for this walking foot. Now what a walking foot will do is instead of just grabbing the fabric from the bottom and pulling it through, this actually grabs on the top and the bottom and helps pull everything through. So when you've got layered fabric, something like the nylon and the Apex, it's going to help pull it through more evenly. Definitely worth having on a project like this. Okay, so now I've got all the baffles sewn in all the way along the shell of the top quilt, which then attaches the insulation to the shell. And I've got my liner, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach this. I'm going to leave enough overlap here. I'm going to create a corner. These are folded over. Alright, so what I'll do is to put the shell, the inner shell and the outer shell together, I'm going to fold the spare fabric over so that my rough edge is on the inside, completely inside. And then for the inner shell, I'm going to fold that a couple inches in so that the rough edge is on the inside there. Line them up. Make sure you leave enough spare on the edge here so you can fold this in when you come back around. And I'm going to pin it together. And I'm going to do this all the way around. Making sure I keep the edges together as close as possible, and making sure that the insulation goes all the way to the edge. And then at the corners, just fold in. And I could cut this, but it's only this little piece here, so I'm not too worried about it. And there we go. I'll just work my way all the way around. Alright, so now I got all of my edges pinned together all the way around the perimeter, and it's time to go ahead and sew this all together, and then I'll go to the next step. Alright, so now I've got everything sewn together. It gives me my baffles on the outside, smooth inside. I got a few spots that curved in a little bit, especially where I doubled up the insulation. Oh well, can't fix that now. The insulation pulled everything back in, but it is what it is. This is for my own personal use, so not a big deal. So what I'm going to do here for the foot box is I'm going to use Kam Snaps, and I'm going to go 3 feet, and this is backwards. I'm going to go 3 feet, so I'm going to go up to this line here. Make the foot box, and I'm going to use snaps for the foot box on the bottom. And now what I think I'm going to do, I'm going to make the snaps so that you kind of roll it together like this to snap it, and that should create a little bit of a baffle underneath here to help keep the cool air out. So Okay, so the Kam Snaps are in. I've got 3 down the side. 1, 2, and 3 down the side, and then I've got 4 across the bottom. And what I did was I made it so it kind of folds over at the bottom. This is a summer quilt, so I'm not too concerned about air leaking in here. I might add one more down here just to close this up. Like that, right at the bottom. Maybe I'll do that. I'll add one right there. Alright, so the finished length is, well, tape's only 79 inches long, so it's at least 81, which I wanted at least 80, so that's good. And then 50 inches, well, 52 inches wide. And then, of course, right now it's folded in half. But yeah, this is gonna be perfect. The one I had before was a little bit too short. So this is the original one I made. This is only about 68 inches long. I don't know how I managed to miss like a foot of material at the top of this one. Don't know. Not sure how I did that. The only real difference is, like I said in the beginning here, the materials are the same. Roughly. 1 ounce nylon. Difference being this was calendared. I made this in a calendared fabric. This is non-calendar. I added a foot of length to it, and then down here at the bottom, this last panel is, I folded the insulation over. So it's a little thicker at the foot, and it helps create a little bit of a baffle down here. I'm going to add that extra snap. Maybe I'll add a couple more in here just to have them. But yeah, so other than that, it's the same insulation. So I'm pretty sure I'll be okay with the same temperature ratings on this one. I don't see why it wouldn't be the same. This actually is a little bit thicker at the bottom, like I said, so my feet should stay warmer. And I've got enough at the top. I'd like to, if I get cold, I like to pull it up over my head. I just couldn't do it with the other one. So this is a DIY top quilt, rated at 50 degrees. Your experience may vary. I'm okay in a 50-degree quilt down to the 30s. Some people, not so much. But yeah, I'm definitely going to add some extra snaps. Let me do that real quick. Alright, so there we go. Added a few more snaps to this side. That way, holds together a little better. Yeah. So there's a couple little gaps in there, but I think it should be fine. So there is the DIY top quilt made with 1 ounce Ripstop nylon for the interior and exterior shell, and the 2.5 ClimaShield Apex insulation. Rate it down to 50 degrees depending on your sleeping patterns. I'm okay in a little bit lower. But I hope this helped you out. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions about how I made it or any suggestions, I know my sewing technique is horrible. This is not a lesson in how to sew or do any of this stuff the proper way, but this is just to show you how I made mine. Comments always welcome, and thanks for watching. See you in the next one.